This is Shark Discovery, where we tell the stories no one else dares to tell. If you believe in the power of shedding light on realities like these, please hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Thank you. Oklahoma is descending into hell, but not a hell of earthquakes or wildfires. This is a hell where people have no home to return to. This isn't your typical travel documentary. This is a raw, painful, and eye-opening story that makes you pause and reflect. Before we begin today's journey, let's take a moment to admire the Oklahoma sky on a spring morning. Soft sunlight blankets the endless wheat fields, where the breeze gently rustles through the ancient oak trees. In the distance, herds of cattle graze peacefully as if time itself has slowed. Red dirt country roads lead us through small towns where people still greet each other every morning, and smiles tend to linger longer than footsteps. The people here carry with them a quiet strength and sincerity. They're farmers, mechanics, teachers, folks who aren't afraid of hard work or harsh weather. And that's exactly what makes today's story all the more heartbreaking. Because beneath the surface of this kind and humble land lies a bitter reality that few ever truly see. Imagine this. You're standing beneath a massive overpass in the heart of Oklahoma City. The wind cuts sharply against your face. The roar of traffic thunders overhead. And right in front of you is Linda, a woman in her 50s trying to stay warm by a fire made from trash and broken branches. She's been homeless for 8 years. She's endured freezing winters, blistering summers, and countless sleepless nights, running from danger, searching for her next meal. There are things that never make the headlines, numbers that never appear in official reports, but our cameras captured it all. At an empty lot on the outskirts of Oklahoma City, we met a little girl around 7 years old, sharing half a moldy piece of bread with her younger brother. She whispered, "Mom said we'd have rice tomorrow, but she hasn't come back." Their mother, once a laundry worker, disappeared after she couldn't afford the rent. Some believe she left the state to look for work. Others fear something worse, that she was arrested for sleeping in a park illegally. In Shawnee, an elderly man nearly 80 years old was found dead in his car from the cold. Inside the car was an envelope, a copy of his unpaid electric bill, and a letter he had started writing to his daughter. "I'm doing okay, just need to make it through this winter." In Tulsa, a security camera accidentally captured a group of teenagers setting fire to a homeless person's tent, just to film a funny video. People like Linda don't just face poverty, they live with fear, violence, and the quiet erasure of being ignored by society. No human being deserves to live like this, not because they chose it, but because society chose to look the other way. Linda isn't just a number and a statistic. She's part of a harsh reality in Oklahoma, where in just 1 year, the number of homeless people in Oklahoma City alone rose by over 28%. That's 1,838 human lives. Statewide, more than 4,000 people are living without a home and without hope. In cities like Tulsa, dozens of people are turned away from shelters every night because they're over capacity. In rural areas, the tragedy is quieter. Families packed into cars or setting up tents along riverbanks. Why is this happening? Just look at the facts. Oklahoma's minimum wage is still stuck at $7.25 an hour. Meanwhile, rent has soared past $1,000 a month. At that income level, you can barely afford half the rent. Over 2,000 students in Oklahoma City don't have a stable place to live. They study in cars, in tents, or on a friend's couch. Ms. Mary, an elementary school teacher in Tulsa, shared, "I always keep socks, milk, and snacks in my desk drawer, because I know my kids are hungry." And then there's Casey. He once had a home, a car, a steady job. But one medical bill, and everything fell apart. He laughs and says, "Now all I have left is my backpack and a tarp." Casey represents the thousands of people who've fallen into the abyss from just one misstep in life. Linda shares, "I haven't given up, because giving up just isn't me." A quiet sentence, light as the wind, yet powerful enough to stir even the most hardened hearts. In any nation, prosperity isn't measured solely by skyscrapers or rising GDP. It's most clearly reflected in how a society treats its most vulnerable members. The homeless, they are the mirror that reveals the true value of compassion, policy, and human solidarity. A civilized society isn't one without poverty, it's one where the poor are not abandoned. The government's role in this crisis is to create compassionate policies, raising the minimum wage to match the cost of living, investing in affordable housing, providing mental health care, and supporting education for homeless children. But the government can't do it alone. The role of the people, of each individual, is just as vital. Every small act, sharing a meal, asking how someone's doing, showing a little respect, can plant the seed of hope and change someone's life. We don't have to be heroes. We just have to be human. Because in the end, the true value of a society isn't found in its wealth, but in how we care for one another in the hardest of times. Amid that darkness, there is light. The organization Key to Home helped 153 homeless individuals find stable housing in just their first year. They don't require sobriety. They don't demand paperwork. They ask only one thing, that you're willing to take the key and start again. In towns like Shawnee, Enid, and Lawton, there are barbers who give free haircuts to the homeless on weekends. A small diner in Norman leaves out a few extra meals each night with a note. If you need it, take it. These acts may seem small, but to those who've lost hope, they can feel like salvation. In McAllister, a mobile medical van carries volunteer doctors through rural areas to treat people living on the streets. It may be just an old van, but it brings something many big hospitals can't: presence. When I held that key in my hand, I knew I deserved to live like a human being, Linda said, her voice trembling. Oklahoma in 2025 is no longer the promised land. It's a warning, a stark reminder that the homelessness crisis can touch anyone, and that every small action you take, whether it's sharing this video or simply speaking a kind word to someone without a home, can spark real change. No matter how thick the darkness may be, the light of humanity never goes out. On the coldest nights, someone quietly leaves blankets at the base of a tree. In a small grocery store in Norman, the owner sets aside 2 boxes of food each evening for anyone who needs it. At a church in Edmond, parishioners take turns cooking porridge and handing it out at dawn. It's this quiet compassion, this unspoken solidarity, that keeps a community from falling apart. The homeless don't need pity, they need to be seen, to be treated as real human beings. Because deep down, any one of us could find ourselves in their place. Oklahoma is just one part of a global picture. From Los Angeles to Manila, from New York to London, the sight of people sleeping on sidewalks is becoming common. But common doesn't mean acceptable. And common doesn't mean we should stay silent. Whether you're a tourist or a local, you can be part of the solution. You don't need to be a philanthropist or have millions in the bank. All it takes is kindness, a glance that doesn't look away, a simple good morning, a small act that carries great meaning.